I was talking to my friends. These are all my relatives that brought with me.
Oh, you staffed it with your relatives, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But some familiar faces in the audience,
yeah,
right?
my cousin Jimmy.
Nice.
My Aunt Teresa. So flew them all in. Didn't want this place to be empty when I got here. So, yes.
So you feel really comfortable now?
Yeah, we're all good. We're going to dinner right after this.
That's great. All right, good. It's a family affair here.
There's a big picture of me here.
Yeah.
It's really amazing that you guys.
Well, you got
took
to
the
do the
time.
correct promotion if you're going to be visiting Build, right? So
I like it, and so they I think paid these people really to be here. So thank you all for showing up today.
Not at all. Not at all. We do have fans in the audience here, so we're so glad to have you. Yeah. But you're usually on this side of the spectrum, and you're not. Most of the time you're doing the interview. What do you feel about being on this side?
I'm very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm very uncomfortable sitting here waiting because for me, I take great pride in getting to try to squeeze things out of people they don't normally talk about. And so when someone's going to squeeze me, it does feel a little weird. I'm a little anxious about it. But I just did the radio show, did like 5 hours, did 2 interviews this morning. I talked to Thomas Rhett, who has a record coming out tomorrow, and Dustin Lynch. So it's in country music right now, it's a big deal because we have like 3 major artists that have records coming out, and then Kelly Clarkson and Sam Smith have records coming out. So just in general, my Kelly Clarkson friends are here too. So yeah, it's a pretty awesome music weekend.
Yeah, and Kelly just premiered a couple of new songs today.
2 songs
yeah,
at
not
the same
just
time.
one, but 2.
Like out of nowhere. That's what's cool about now is it used to be back in the day, 3 years ago. It's funny how back in the day has changed. Back in the day, in May, people would release 1 song and then a record. But now with everyone's appetite for as much content as possible, Kelly will just drop 2. Or Taylor will drop 1. And then during a football game, all of a sudden you hear a part of another song, and then Taylor's got another song out. And so, we're so hungry for content. And now the artists are able to just do that. So I was excited to see Kelly put out 2 songs.
Yeah, there are no rules really these days, I feel.
There aren't rules, and that is great for the consumer. The problem is there are no rules for like the songwriters.
Yeah.
And I'm a big advocate for songwriters. Mm-hmm. And so the songwriters aren't getting paid. Yeah. And there aren't streaming rules yet really that benefit the songwriters. For the artists there are, even for the background singers. Like I do a podcast and a show with producers from my house. Mm-hmm. It's called the Bobbycast, where I talk to the songwriters and the producers. And I had a writer come in, and she did background vocals on a couple records. And she was paid more for the streams on her doing background vocals than for writing Miley Cyrus' The Climb, which has had a billion streams, for writing I Drive Your Truck for Lee Brice. Like, she was paid more for doing background vocals. So it is the Wild West. For us, it's awesome. It reminds me of the Napster days, where we just downloaded everything for free, and it was like, we deserve it, and nobody was getting paid. It's just there has to be rules put into place now.
Sure. Do you think that is what needs to be done to compensate these songwriters?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think that it's just going to take, again, with Napster and the digital age coming, and it just came, and boom, here it was. Mm-hmm. No one's doing anything wrong. There just haven't been laws established yet. So now for everyone, even the artists get compensated. Like, they'll be spun 50 million times and get $30. Yeah. Even with my band here, the Raging Idiots, we've had millions of spins even with our comedy songs. And I got a check for like $19. Now, listen, my music's not even worth $19. I'll be honest with you. But, it's weird when it happens like that. So I have iHeartRadio, All Access, where it's streaming. There's Spotify. There's Apple Music. We listen to it and we love it. And it's like the golden age for us to be able to take in content. But at the same time, we have to figure out how to compensate the creators of this. And I think that's where the real struggle is right now.
Sure. I think that's why a lot of people are turning to touring a lot of times, because that's where some of the money is as well.
All the money is in touring.
Yeah.
You go out, you know that if you go and you sell tickets and people come, one, you're going to get paid, you're guaranteed. And also merch is such a big deal too. The T-shirts, like if you guys go to a show, if you go to a show, you're literally supporting that artist, small or large, if you buy a T-shirt. And you may go, it's just a T-shirt. I went to John Mayer. This is like my favorite artist. John Mayer and Garth Brooks, my 2 favorite artists. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't going to buy a T-shirt because I have like a whole closet of John Mayer, dolls and pin cushions. And,
I wouldn't be surprised.
All of that. Like, I love them, right? But I was like, I'm going to buy a T-shirt too, because the artist now is having to find different ways to actually make a living. And the worst thing that we could do is not provide them what they deserve. And that is to be paid to continue to make music. Like if they're not good, if they suck, don't pay, don't buy a shirt. But if like you enjoy it, like I would say, please reach out and find other ways to actually support your artist, because music now is not really paying the bills as much.
Sure. You had John Mayer on your show recently. Is he one of your ultimate people to interview? And if not, who'd be your dream get?
I had John on. John was coming in for about 10 minutes, and we've met a bunch of times. Like, I love him. Like, he's like my favorite, right? And so he was going to come in for 10 minutes, and he doesn't do a lot of spoken interviews. And I was like, cool, he's going to come in and talk. Because I was the first person on country radio to play one of his songs and say, this could easily be a country song. Yeah. So I played a song, and when he came to Nashville, I was like, hey, I'm going to come by, and we'll talk. And that turned into an hour. So 10 minutes turned into an hour. And so it was like you were supposed to have one cupcake, but they accidentally brought 3 boxes at once. So I had a whole lot of John Mayer with sprinkles, and like it was a whole, and it was awesome because I got to spend like human time. You know, there's this interaction part of an interview where you have 5 to 7 minutes, and it's kind of the box where here are the things you're supposed to say, here are the things that are expected to be asked. But then after you hit 12, 14, 17, 23 minutes, you start to actually see the human parts of people. And John Mayer is so complex. I mean, he started to question me and to interview me about comedy. And I'm like, wait, this is my show. Like, stop, let's... But yeah, John Mayer is, to me, and Garth Brooks. Those are the two. And the two that I really didn't want to interview because I don't like to meet my heroes. Mm-hmm. There's really nothing a hero can do that makes you feel better about them. They can only make you feel worse because they're already my heroes. So there's nothing they can do that makes me go, I like them even more. Unless they give me money. Like, then that's a different thing. Like, if John Mayer or Garth came in and said, here's $100, I'd probably like them a little better. Yeah. But there wasn't a lot that they could do. But they both came in, and I'm so happy that they turned out as wonderful as they did. And they were so great with me because, I mean, Garth came and played music. John Mayer came and sat for an hour. Like, those are the 2 of the few examples of people that I really admire that came in and lived up to the hype. Because we know things just don't live up to the hype usually.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, on the flip side, what's the most challenging part of your job?
Waking up at 3 in the morning every single day is difficult. I'm not a morning person. And for me, I have to wake up at 3. I'm at the radio station by 4. We're on over 100 cities. We've got like 5 million that listen on the radio and another double that listen digitally, because to me the radio is not just what comes through your car. Like, to me, radio means what comes through your phone, what comes through your car, what comes through your laptop. Like, that is what radio is and is evolving into. It's just a content machine. And so, with these millions of listeners, like, I wish I didn't have to get there so early. Like, that's such a challenge. But it's also, in a world, it's such a great time also for like the podcasting. And, I do a show from my house as well where we talk to producers and songwriters. It's called, again, the Bobbycast. And you can find anything in the podcasting world that your hobby, it's an amazing time for content, because whatever it is, if you love My Little Pony or you love the New England Patriots, you'll find a podcast on it. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. And so for that, like, I have to create content that make people want to come back.
Sure. What do you think is the biggest misconception about radio? Because for a while, people were like, radio's dead, Sirius XM is coming in, et cetera, but yet you're really successful. People are listening in their cars. What do you see as the biggest misconception? What do you see as the future for radio?
Well, I think the future is that radio isn't just coming through your car. Mm-hmm. And for me, that's already happening now. I have a very digital audience. And so many years ago, I thought, okay, like, I still like to talk to people through their cars. Sometimes I'll get in the cars with people and just talk. They don't even know I'm there. I'll just show up and be like, hey, let's go for a ride. But, for me, that has already changed. Like, if you think, and you're like, hey, I'd like to get into radio. Radio's not just talking to a transmitter and going into a car. It's a part of it. And it's going to become less and less a part of it. But what radio is just content and music distribution and more content. And so, and I have a company, iHeartMedia, that really values content. And, one of my best friends is Charlamagne the God from The Breakfast Club. And we talk all the time about it. It's like, if we don't prove our worth in our content, we're not going to be around very much longer, because the days of a radio DJ talking 12 seconds over the intro of a song, that's just not going to happen much anymore. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And so what they do care about is a friend. Someone, it's any time you listen to even a TV show, you watch a TV show, you feel like you're bonded to those characters. So I think the biggest misconception is that nobody's listening, But you can look at that. I mean, like 97% of people in some form still have radio in their life. But, you know, television was supposed to die with the internet. The internet was supposed to die with the My Little Pony podcast. You know, all that stuff is... So everything is always supposed to kill the last thing, but none of it really has.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have to congratulate you. You are going to be inducted this fall into the Radio Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Thank you
Give
very
it up
much.
for this guy.
Thank you.
It's a fan-voted honor, which shows that people are really enjoying your content, you know, what you're doing. What did you think when you found out, hey, I'm going to be inducted?
Well, they called and said, you're nominated.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, this is crazy, because I'm in my 30s, and I don't deserve to be in the Radio Hall of Fame. Like, I still don't deserve to be in the Radio Hall of Fame. I don't think I do. And they said, hey, you're going to be nominated, and you'll be against 3 other people, and there are all these categories. And they said, also nominated is Brian Seacrest in your category. And I was like, well, that was fun. Thank you, everybody. Good night. We'll try next year. And Ryan was super awesome. Ryan called, was like, hey, congratulations. He tweeted, put the tweet out there. And I didn't talk about it because I thought I was going to lose, and I don't want to be the guy that's like, woo, and then lose.
Sure.
I would just rather just take the honor. For me, it was an honor. Listen, it's never an honor to be nominated. Don't listen to the crowd. People go, it's an honor to be nominated. It's an honor to win. It's never an honor to be nominated. But for this, I felt like it was before my time. Like, I didn't deserve it, so it was cool to be nominated. And then, and talk about it, but then some artist friends started, and not a lot of them, but 4 or 5 of them really stood out and were like, hey, everybody, you should help them out. Like Little Big Town, Kelsey Ballerini, Dierks Bentley, like people that in my personal life that I have a relationship with that are also big country artists. So my listeners are the most passionate listeners when it comes to philanthropic projects, when it comes to even voting on things like this. Like, my goal is to be as honest all the time as possible. And I think honesty now resonates with people in any form of media. Like, if you're honest, like, it really cuts through. And so, bad or good, I just try to be as honest as I can all the time. And so, I think that's why, or the fact that I voted a whole lot of times. I mean, just over and over
And all your
again.
family and friends out in the audience.
Everybody here had to
right?
vote to get in the room tonight.
Yeah, exactly. You got your start at such a young age, 17. I feel like sometimes radio gives chances to people who are young and really talented. But would you contribute your success to luck, hard work, a little bit of both?
I think that, you know, to be lucky, you have to work hard to be in a spot to where when that break comes. Like, if you work hard, eventually you're going to get a break. And I always say, find something you love, work really hard at it, and because you love it and you're working hard at it, you're going to be successful. And you kind of have to go in that order. Find your passion, work hard at that passion, and then let success come. If it comes, and if it doesn't, that's still okay because you're loving what you do. And so for me, I was a 17-year-old kid. I knew I wanted to be in radio and TV. I knew I wanted to be a comedian. And so I went to the radio station, and they hired me to clean the lobby and switch out a CD. And they weren't supposed to hire me, but some people got in trouble at the station for stealing its equipment. You know, this is how we do it back home. We steal. And so they were like, hey, you have to go on the air. And it was 17, and I didn't have a radio name. And my name is Bobby in real life. My real name is Bobby Estel. And they were like, your name is going to be Bobby Z or Bobby Bones. And I was like, man, both those names are terrible. And I was like, I guess I'll take Bones because it sounds like a pirate or something cool. And so I went on the air at 17, and I was able to mess up and learn a lot earlier than other people. It was a lot of bad, but I got to have my bad earlier. And I think that's the key to success. And even the second book that I'm working on now is that it's about learning through screwing up and being able to mess up a lot, learn from that, and continue to get back up. That's all the successful people that I know have messed up so much more than the people that I know that aren't successful.
Sure. I mean, as many people love you, you do have your critics, and you've talked about them out there in the open. You've read some of their, criticisms on the air. What do you have to say to critics, and what's the worst thing you've heard about yourself?
Well, the worst thing I've heard from a personal life person, or
like a tweet or.
Listen, anytime that anyone has, I think people in this room know, if you have success doing anything, there are always going to be people that don't like it, that they're not in that spot. And it's not so much that you're doing it, it's that they don't like it, they're not in that spot. And I have the same, I'm human too. I see people doing things, and I'm like, man, I wish I was in that spot. Like, why can't? And now the internet has created this land of you can just say whatever you want with no sort of repercussion at all. Like, get on Facebook. That's all everybody's a Facebook warrior. Yeah. And so, the internet has created a culture where you can say whatever you want, whenever you want, without someone punching you in the face. Luckily for me, too, I can say whatever I want. No one punches me in the face. And so, people say, I'm not the same as what the format has always had.
Yeah.
when they brought me in, I knew it was going to be bad for a while because they're bringing in a guy into a format that I love, but I don't look like the normal country DJ. I don't sound like them. I come from a background where I did top 40 and hip hop and sports and alternative, but I grew up in Arkansas, a hardcore country fan, but I also live in the generation where we got to download all the Napster songs for free and listen to everything. So I had all these, and I was the first one that said, it's okay to have other influences. Like, look at our phones. We don't have one format. So as much as I love country music, I'm open about loving other kinds of music too. And I think that kind of sets the old guard, the people that have been around forever. It makes them feel a little weird about it.
Sure. Well, and he's waking up at 3 a.m, but you're also on tour. You're doing the Raging Idiots tour, and you're doing the comedy tour. If people are going to see you on the road, what should they expect?
Well, so I'm finishing up my stand-up tour. I think I have a couple shows left. It's the Funny and Alone tour, and my radio show's all my friends, and so to do stand-up, it's just me on stage. And so I've spent the last January through now doing stand-up comedy, and so the comedy tour's pretty much over, so you can't expect nothing because the show's already sold out. All the rest of the shows are sold out, so expect nothing unless you get on a tickets resale site. But for the Raging Idiots, I just wanted to build like an experience. Like if I could compare it to something, it would be like when Puffy brings everybody out, and Puffy doesn't do that much, but Puffy brings out really great people around him. And so with the Raging Idiots, like we write these funny songs, but I'm able to get with the best songwriters that are my friends, and I'm able to have the best band. And so we come out, and it is a really fun. We wear tracksuits, so no one thinks we're trying to be a real serious band.
Sure.
And the show sounds great, and it's so much fun. And we do a bunch of covers too, where it's kind of like a wedding band mixed with a comedy show, mixed with some real life concert. And I just want people to have fun, and that's the whole goal. I think when people buy a ticket, they just want to go have fun. And so, but I do get to, for me, a big part of my life is supporting female artists.
Awesome.
So on my show, which we actually have the thing here, like my openers are Jillian Jacqueline and Nikita Carmen, who they're both females. And so I'm a huge supporter, especially now where there aren't a lot of females that are given, I think, fair shots to be featured on the radio and all these places. And so I like to use my platform for that. And so not only am I doing it on the radio, am I having big shows during CMA week, but even when I go on tour, I try to have as many females out with me as possible, just to go, hey, let's shine the light here. Let's not. So even with this, it's a great, because they're both of them, Jillian and Nikita Carmen, are awesome, and I just want people to see that.
That's awesome. Kudos to you for doing that.
I love kudos. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Who doesn't? Earlier this year, you were mentioning some play to get involved in politics. Is that something that's still on your radar?
Oh, for sure. And I genuinely considered running for governor of Arkansas. So much. Don't laugh. Yeah, you want to laugh. Okay, that's okay. Laugh at the nerdy guy. Yeah. But so, like, I really felt like I could make a difference. I don't claim to know the most, but I felt like, because I've been able to come from a place, like I grew up in a town called Mountain Pine, Arkansas, and my mom was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and she died in her 40s from drugs and alcohol. And my real dad was never there. And I grew up from a place that I feel like I can help because I've learned how to give back. I've learned how to talk to people. And I've also learned that I'm not the smartest person ever in a room full of smart people, and to surround myself with great people. So I thought, if I can surround myself with the greatest people and with the goal of giving back, education, and really, it was a very selfish thing because I wanted to help people like me. I wanted to help kids that really didn't have a shot. And I thought, I can do this. But I didn't have enough time, really, to run, and I didn't feel like I would be educated enough for this time. So I pulled out and said, hey, I'm not going to do it. But only after I made the governor of Arkansas, the current one, invite me to the governor mansion. And we had a big dinner, and it was all fancy. And he asked me, he pulled me to the side. His name's Governor Hutchinson. He said, are you going to run? And I said, Governor, I'm not going to run. And he was like, I'm going to be much nicer to you right now. I was like, thank you, sir. But I don't think I would have won. But for me, politics is a way of just finding a way to give back. And even if it's not political, like even, with our show this last week, whenever we do something called Joy Week, and it's about spreading joy. And we have a line called Pimpin' Joy. And so we don't keep any of the money for Pimpin' Joy. We set out with a goal to raise $50,000 in T-shirts and sweatshirts that we make for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which works with kids with cancer. It's such a fantastic place. And $50,000 was our goal for the week. Well, we hit it in one day, and we were like, wow, well, then the hurricane really started to be this big thing that was much bigger than we first thought. Because remember, they couldn't even evacuate. It happened so quickly down on the coast, down in Houston, Galveston. And so we switched it and said, hey, we're switching this up. We hit our goal for St. Jude. So let's take all the Pimp and Joy and donate it to the Red Cross because they're the best at disaster relief, especially when you don't know what's needed. And so we did almost $300,000 in the next 4 days just by selling T-shirts and sweatshirts. And so my audience is fantastic because they will not take crap and they expect absolute truthfulness. And I like to give it to them. And I found that developing a relationship through people, I think I can use that for the public in a greater way as well. Right now, I think it's on the radio. And right now, I think it's people, listening to the podcast and hearing the messages. And, I wrote this book and I'm writing the second book. But my goal is, the reason I think I'm here is to give back.
Well, I think that's a great way to end our portion of this interview. And before I let you go completely, though, Bobby, we have some questions from the crowd here, from your family and friends and cousins
of course.
in-laws.
Hey,
whatever.
man.
Thank you for being here. So, what special advice would you give to people that's trying to get in the radio business? And what do you remember? Do you remember your first day in the radio, and what kind of resonated with you?
Yeah, I think first of all, thanks for what's your name, by the way? Michael. Good to meet you. Thanks for coming, man. You had no idea who you were going to see today, but I appreciate you coming up here. Advice to get into radio: know that it's not the same. Like when I was a kid, like I was a '90s kid, I would listen to the radio. Radio people were cool. I would be like, wow, there were like 7 morning shows, and they were all famous in town. That's just not how it works anymore. It's so niche driven. Like whatever it is that you want to talk about and you're good at, like find that and focus on that in the digital space. Like create your own podcast, which is it's super cheap to do now. You can basically get a laptop and go to one of the stores and buy a microphone. And next thing you know, put a podcast up, start tweeting, hashtagging it, and creating your own niche. So to me, radio again is just very much in the digital space. I'd find your passion, and then I would just start producing content like crazy over and over again and sending it to people. And let's say you wanted to be on the radio. Never try to go right to the host because he's got 100 people. It's like an artist. Like, hey, how do I get my music played? Like the real trick isn't don't go to the main guy. Go to the main guy's friend. Because if the main guy's friend likes it, that's who he trusts. And he'll be like, hey, you should listen to this. So my advice would be find what you're passionate about. Just start talking about it and create as much content as possible and just try to get it to as many people as you can.
Awesome. All right. Who's next?
Hey, Bob.
What's your name?
Jawad.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So I was wondering, do you ever listen to your own podcast after or your radio shows to see if maybe see what you could have done differently, or if ever criticized yourself?
I always criticize myself, but I never listen back. So no, I don't listen back because I have so many people that tell me I suck. So I don't listen back. I don't speak properly. Like I speak in broken sentences. I'm not a good broadcaster. So if I were to listen back to myself, I would go, man, you're just not that good at talking on the radio or talking to people. But I think I talk like people. There's a difference in talking to people and talking like people. I don't even want to talk to people. I want to talk like people. I want to talk with people. So if I listen back to myself, I think I'll criticize myself for that. So no, I don't. I especially won't listen to the John Mayer things I love. I won't even look at the YouTube video because I'll be like, oh, you're such an idiot. But I have station managers that listen and complain, and ratings, people listen. And so a lot of people listen for me. I don't. I think you should. I just am not good at being an actual speaker or good at talking into a microphone, so I don't. I'll go crazy if I do. But thank you for the question.
All right, we have one last question in the crowd.
Hi. So I was wondering, what rooted the song about Chick-fil-A on Sundays?
Oh, yeah. So there are only a couple of Chick-fil-A's here in the city in New York. I'm sorry for you guys. Yeah, there are two or three? Yeah, sorry. Well, here's the deal. So Chick-fil-A is a wonderful place to eat. They don't pay me. I never got a nickel from Chick-fil-A either. So you're about to hear an absolute free commercial. For those that haven't experienced Chick-fil-A, imagine, if you could, close your eyes. Imagine the most delicious chicken nugget. Yeah, right. Like when you bite down, the juice is warm and it comes out. It's like it swallows itself. It's so good. That's what a Chick-fil-A nugget tastes like. And so Chick-fil-A also has healthy options, but they're closed on Sunday because their owner was like, Sunday is the day of the Lord. And there are Sundays where I've driven up to Chick-fil-A and been like, hey, let's get number 2. And there's nobody in the machine talking back to me. So they don't open on Sunday. And so I wrote Chick-fil-A on Sunday. Me and a buddy of mine did because we tried to go to Chick-fil-A on a Sunday and it was closed. And we're like, well, there's a stupid song. So we wrote Chick-fil-A on Sunday. But Chick-fil-A, do you ever go south? Man, I'll pay for your Chick-fil-A. You send me a tweet. I'll send you a gift card if you never had it. All right? Yeah, it's just it's better than it's better than a Garth Brooks and John Mayer interview combined. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
to bring it all full
All the way
circle. Well, Bobby Bones, thank you for coming in today. Thank you for your great questions. Congratulations on the honor. Give it up
Thank
one
you.
more time
Thank
for
you
Bobby
very much.
Bones.